Hello, hello, hello. A very warm welcome to everybody who joins us on Africa Rise with Susan West. And of course, by now you should have known that we're doing a daily broadcast because we're commemorating Nigeria at 60. And yesterday I had the ladies. It was fantastic. Today I have Mr. Dele Farotimi, and I know a lot of you who have commented saying that you're looking forward to seeing him. And so on Africa Rise today, we will be talking Nigeria at 60, the gains, the losses, and the missed opportunities. Yes. And so as you join this broadcast, please remember to like and follow us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is underscore Susan West. If you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. It is also underscore Susan West and as well on Instagram. As you join, remember to create watch parties, invite your friends and family, invite your community. Let's chat. And as you join, of course, remember to send in your contributions, questions, and comments. Okay, so I'm going to bring our guests, Dele Farotimi, now. Hello, Mr. Farotimi.
Good evening, Mrs.
Good
West.
evening. Welcome to Africa Rise with Susan West. And of course, today's topic is the gains, the losses, and the missed opportunities as Nigeria turns 60. 60 is 6 decades. If that was a human being, she would be a grandmother or he would be a grandfather. So real quickly, go ahead and educate us on the gains, the losses, and missed opportunities that Nigeria has had.
You're asking a lot of me now, aren't you?
You're capable.
Losses, the gains, the opportunities. You practically left me speechless, and that's a difficult thing to accomplish.
Right.
I generally enjoy the sound of my own voice. So when somebody now asks me a question that practically leaves me without words, I'm 52 years old now. So I'm not as old as our country, Nigeria. But I've seen it in different stages. I've seen Nigeria as a functional state. I went through a primary school system that functioned the way one should function. My father was a clerical officer in the civil service. He didn't have to have money for me to have access to good quality education. I used the University College Hospital in Ibadan before I was 5 years old. I still have memories of my hospitalization in that place, and it compares with what I still find when I've had occasion to use the health facilities outside of Nigeria. It compares better than anything I've had the opportunity to use in the private health sector in Nigeria. So I was born into a functional state. With the benefit of hindsight, it's easy to have seen the seeds of today's putrefactions even back then. But at least we were born into a functional state. I went to secondary school in my mother's village. Note that, my mother's village, somewhere in Oyo State, Fiditi. They had teachers from Canada, from Ghana, Pakistan, India. This is Fiditi Grammar School. I am paying for the best of secondary school education that Nigeria can afford, and I have paid. And none of them, I say it, and I've said this repeatedly, none of them has given my children the kind of broad-based, rounded education that I received from Fidelity Grammar School. And my parents didn't have to beg, steal, or borrow. It was a village school. It was a village school. It was built in 1954. Village school. But it had good brains to teach. There were dedicated teachers. So I grew in a functional state. But I look around me now and I see the devastation that has overtaken us. It didn't start yesterday. Buhari certainly didn't bring it. He might have exacerbated it, and he certainly has. It's not like Nigeria's problems began in 2015. No, you need to go way further back, way beyond 1960, that were purportedly the independence that we're purportedly celebrating, really. So it's not like a by one person thing, but this was once. I laugh and I shudder actually when I consider that Achebe wrote there was a country how many decades ago? And the putrefaction has been progressive. If it's a painful subject to contemplate, and perhaps maybe my age is beginning to tell on me, because I look at my children and I'm worried. I'm worried. Would there be a country for them in 60 years' time? Because anything erected on injustice always collapse. It's inevitable. Anything you build on lies, and every injustice is built on lies. You cannot build any injustice without lies undergirding them. And the unfortunate thing is that the Nigerian state has been built on lies. And so many more lies are being built to support the singular lies that has been told. So you have a multiplicity of lies, not unlike head lies. So it's I'm very pessimistic about the chances of Nigeria going forward unless there is a radical course correction. So the question you've asked is a tough one to deal with. It's got several challenges. The challenges are even threatening its very existence. We can pretend all we want. We might have our own. I don't want to see Nigeria broken up. I don't even think it's possible, because it will take too much energy to accomplish it, too much bloodshed. But people are being left with no choice. So extreme voices are the ones that are speaking. So I really don't know what anyone gathering anywhere will be celebrating tomorrow. And I'm not even sure it is worthy of celebration. If anything, we should probably declare a national day of mourning and mourn the loss. Yeah, that's just the truth. If it were to be a man, you said it yourself, if you begin to use biological terms to measure and quantify the progress that Nigeria has made as a state, the reality is that we are more divided today than we were 60 years ago. 60 years ago, at least, there was the illusion of an Hausa Fulani tribe, and there was the illusion of a monolithic single northern Nigeria. And at least it wasn't such a fragmented place where nomads are running riots all over the place, where you have bandits decimating people's lives and livelihood, where security has disappeared. That's a vast part of our country. It wasn't a place where people toured one end of Nigeria to the other without worrying about armed robbery. It was alien 60 years ago. 60 years ago, we were not as insane as we have manifestly become now, because we really do have to be insane to think that anything is normal about our current existence. So frankly speaking, if anything, we should be having rather frank conversations with ourselves as a people, or we'll soon be doing a whole heap of mourning as a country. That's the truth.
Wow. I've had to broadcast daily since Sunday of this week. And on different days, I've had different feelings. My emotions have been very different depending on who the guest is or are. And a few days ago, I had the children on this program, and by the time I finished the chat with them, I ended up feeling very light and happy, and I felt like there was hope, because the children had a lot of encouraging words for us. But every time I speak to the adults, the grown adults, this is the truth. This is what comes out, and it is really depressing. I wanted to ask you, you said unless there is a radical course correction, what would that be? What would be that radical course connection to turn things around for Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Well, I wrote a book over a year ago. When I was writing that book, I came to the knowledge of the fact that the difference between revolutions and implosions
Mm,
have always been the presence of an alternative vision that you can unite and galvanize the people behind when you are demanding the replacement of an order that you consider decadent. If you say something is not good, what's the alternative? Belly aching is not an alternative. Grievances and ranting, they are no alternatives. So I sat down, and when I was done writing down my grievances and pains and everything, I called one of the best legal brains that I have had the pleasure of knowing in my life, Ralph Nwoke. He's a partner in the law office I co-founded. And alongside a couple of other counsel, we coupled together a constitution, a draft constitution. We presume
mm,
to present something to Nigerians as an alternative to what we have today. Because
right.
here is the thing, my sister. In 1964, I believe, yeah, 64 was the last time the Nigerian, no, 62, the Nigerian people sat down together, and then they promulgated the 1963 Constitution, which was
Mm,
the last expressed will of the Nigerian people.
people.
That constitution was summarily abrogated by the military adventurers of January 1966. By July 1966, whatever
Mm,
was left of that arrangement was dead. So
wow.
all the negotiations leading up to the independence of the Nigerian state in 1960, that became the Independence Constitution of 1960, which the people themselves improved upon with the Republican Constitution, I believe, of 1963, a band of military men trained only in the heart of warfare with different hegemonic interests at heart broke that constitution. And since that time in 1966, the
Mm,
Nigerian people have never had a say as to how they have been governed.
mm,
It has been the man with the biggest gun in the room that has prescribed how we must be governed.
mm,
Let us be clear about this. Our leaders were very much aware of the cultural and social differences that existed between the different component parts of this country. And with all of that in mind, they agreed to a parliamentary democracy founded on strong regions. Each one
mm,
of those regions had its own constitution. It had the capacity to control its resources. It had the capacity to determine the direction of its peoples. And there were room for the improvement of that constitution. And that room was used by 1963 in the creation of the Midwest region. So there was constitutional growth away from the prying eyes of the British.
mm,
It was not a perfect system. It certainly wasn't. If it was perfect, we would not have had the military adventurers come around as they did.
mm,
But imperfect as it might be, it was the last expressed will of the Nigerian people.
mm,
That will has never been allowed to find expression since that time. All the palpitations you have seen in Nigeria since that time, the civil war, the military interregnum, the coup that removed Gowon, the assassination of Muritala Muhammad himself, each and every one of those has its root in the refusal to allow the expressed will of the Nigerian people to prevail. The cancellation of the June 12 election is an extension of the same refusal to allow the expressed will of the Nigerian people to prevail. Now, unless and until we find our way back to a place where we stop aggregating the rights of the citizens and the expressed will of the Nigerian is allowed to prevail in the governance of the Nigerian state, you will continue to find the agitations that are tearing Nigeria apart and that has turned us into a nation at war with itself. Our problems are systemic, and the only cure is systemic. We must return to strong federal system based on viable regions. I cannot understand the incongruity of a federal state that is creating federating units. How does a federal government create states? And the same federal government insists on creating local governments. And then you use local governments as the basis for revenue allocation. If we are no longer a federation, at least let's be honest enough to stop abusing the English language. It is the worst of semantic linguistic inexactitude to continue to refer to Nigeria as a federation. In fact, it's idiotic. We are not a federation. We need to stop that lie. And that is the origin of all of our problems. That stupid lie that we keep telling ourselves, which same stupid lie led to the stupid executive order by the one who does not even begin to understand what it means to have a constitutional democracy and is issuing presidential order purporting to give autonomy to people who already have autonomy based on the constitution. So please, let's understand this. Until we have a return to a true federal system, true one, until we have a country that is ruled by the law. Because right now, let's face it, we're ruled by jungle. The rule of the voice of one man. The president decides what court orders he obeys and which ones he doesn't obey. Even the access to justice, how many people have access to the courts? So our issues require a fundamental turnaround. People call it revolution. Revolutions are expected to be violent and all that. I'm not for a violent revolution, but yeah, we need a turn around in Nigeria.
Right. You made mention of so many things, and one of the thing I want to ask now is having a true federal system.
Yeah.
Having a true federal system, how do we go about having a true federal system? Some people are asking for restructuring. No, what's the word? Yes. What's the word? The word is skipping my mind now. If we don't have that opportunity to have that conversation of bringing everyone on board and having that conversation of taking into cognizance everyone's agitation and complaints, how are we going to then have a true federal system? Because as it is, of course, the Constitution right now, as it stands, apart from the fact that the president does not respect the rule of law, the Constitution needs a little bit of...
I think Baba God might be interested in interfering with the location of my current location is drizzling.
Right.
And I'm wondering, anyway, let's continue. I think it might just be a passing one. But here is the thing, says. when I said it will take a revolution, I already know that it would have to be outside the existing constitutional order.
Mm.
Let's be clear about that. But not every attempt at changing a constitutional order is necessarily violent. I have placed a draft constitution before Nigerians. It is my intention to be speaking to Nigerians by exactly 12 a.m. tonight. I intend to be speaking into the womb of the day. And part of what I want to do is to explain and give the highlight of the constitution that I have proposed. How do we expect to bring it about? I would explain. The first thing I have set out to do over the last year is to attempt to show Nigerians, whatever your tribe might be, commonality of our afflictions. I don't care whether you're Hausa, whether you're a Fulani man, whether you're Igbo, Yoruba, Ijaw, Isoko, whatever you might be. The reality really is that there are only two tribes in Nigeria. It's only the rulers and the ruled.
Mm.
The rulers are above the law, whatever tribe they might be, and the ruled are always trampled on their foot, and the law does not give them any protection. So if you now, first of all, get it clear to people that your recourse, because you are aggrieved, should not be to run into secessionist refuge, where you now begin to advocate for the breakup of Nigeria, as though breaking up Nigeria is such an easy thing to do, given if the realities on the ground makes it even a rather undesirable thing, because into how many parts and how easy and nice are you going to dice it? How do you aggregate other people's right to determine who is part of this your new republic? So, but I understand where they're coming from. People are aggrieved. So I feel that before you can even begin to demand that Nigeria must turn around and change, we must first of all find common cause. Finding common cause entails reaching out to the secessionists, helping them to understand that when you focus on secession, what you are actually doing unwittingly is that you are taking attention away from the real problems. Because I'll give you an example. There hasn't been a Fulani ruler of Igbo land in the last 21 years. And no Fulani man has ruled in Lagos State in the last 21 years. So we have been our own enemies. It's not been some mythical Fulani hegemony that has kept us down. The Fulani hegemony might have originated the feudalization of our democracy, and it certainly has, because feudalism has its root in Fulani culture. That's where it has its root. And it's become indigenized and it's gone all over Nigeria. But we must get to the point where we understand that even if you broke Nigeria into your dream enclaves, that hegemony has already transferred, and they are the ones who will gain power again because our people have been impoverished. So I'm trying, first of all, let's unite ourselves. If we can manage to unite ourselves behind a common agenda, I do not know of any Nigerian, even the richest Nigerian, I've heard him complain about the way things are going on in Nigeria. No Nigerian is really happy with the way things are going on in Nigeria. But until we agree first that, look, let's stop all these distractive arguments about want to break up Odua Republic, Biafra, this one, that one, it doesn't solve our problems. Let's first of all agree that we are together, one first. When we've done that, let's now agree. Let's be clear about something. The last agreement we ever had was clear. Federation. That's why they've continued to lie that we are still one, because that was the fundamental agreement that led to the creation of Nigeria. If there wasn't a federation promised, I know as a fact that Awolowo wasn't stupid enough to have dragged the Yoruba. If he had the mandate, he would never have dragged the Yoruba into a unitary system. He would never have. I am not too sure that any Igbo man or any of the minorities were so scared, even within the regions, that they demanded for their own rights. They had a commission. The Willings Commission was set up for the protection of the rights of the minorities. They were that alarmed within a federation of 3 regions. They were alarmed. It was their alarm that led to the enshrinement of the Bill of Rights in the Independence Constitution of 1960. So the Bill of Rights, which is the father of the Nigerian chapter on human rights in every one of our constitution, has its root in the fears of the Nigerian minorities. So first thing first, I believe we first of all need to unite ourselves, move beyond all these divisive, secessionist noises. Even some of our oppressors, they sponsor these secessionist noises as well, because it suits them that we are debating nonsense instead of facing them.
Right.
If we face ourselves, we'll be able to demand accountability. When we've done that, then we can then look at the way we are governed. How do you explain that the cost of governance in Nigeria is higher than the cost of what is spent on the social welfare and development of the people? We've become a nation structured as a feudal system where the rulers are at the top. Everyone else, we are right there at the bottom, and no matter how rich you are, eventually the way the system is structured, even the middle class of Nigeria is the most pitiable I have seen anywhere. They cannot even understand and identify what their own best interests are, because at the end of the day, the way the system is structured, the middle class is under constant squeeze. Every government rule is designed to take value out of that middle class. Is pauperizing the middle class to maintain the ruling class, and is ensuring that the lower class never have the ladder to climb into that middle class. Instead, the middle class is dumping down into the peasant class. So you find at the end of the day that unless we restructure the totality of our governance systems, and you've asked the question, I'm sorry, I want to touch on this so that I can allow you to ask other questions, and it is this. When we have had sufficient debate on the constitution that we have proposed to the Nigerian people, when we have allowed other people to have their own say related to that constitution, it is our intention to put it to the Nigerian people. And when we might have managed to collect 1 million signature, just 1 million Nigerian signature behind that constitution, we shall be marching on the street to demand a referendum from the Nigerian. Is this on? We will be on the street. Let's be clear. We will not be violent. We will not start with the streets. We will start with educating the people. And when we are done with the educational phase, we shall surely be on the streets. We are not unaware of the shenanigans that the National Assembly lie that they are telling themselves that they want to do a constitutional reform. We know the kind of reforms to expect from them. It will only be one that takes care of their class. That's the kind of water bill nonsense that they are. That's not the kind of constitutional reform that we are looking at. We are looking at one that renders the citizen the cornerstone of a federation, not this feudal system that is masquerading as a federation. It is not a federation. This is a lie, a sham. It's a sham. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. You know, having listened to you speak, and a lot of people, of course, it's not secret anymore that the Biafra is calling for secession. Now a group of people calling for the Oduduwa. And some of the people in the Niger Delta are not even sure where they want to go, because even in that, region, there's a little bit of, the Ijaws. We don't know how many ways we can go, like you said. But I know that these agitations have not only started from a few years ago when Nnamdi Kanu started the IPOB, group. This has been going on for such a long time. I want to ask, what do you think are the missed opportunities that the leadership, people in authority have had to have quelled this noise or sound of agitation of wanting to break away from Nigeria?
Why should they? It works for them. These agitations are distractions. These agitations are distractions. They are rooted in genuine grievances. Please, let's be clear about that. They are rooted in genuine grievances. But you see, there is always the danger of the binary vision. When a person loses the capacity to see beyond the narrow opening that his adversary has left for him. The problem with the Southern secessionists is that they have always assumed that they are the only ones with agendas. The Biafran sees the achievement of Biafra as the ultimate realization of his ambition to be rid of the painful experience that Nigeria has become for the Igbo man. I understand the Igbo man's grievances. It will be very unfair and callous for anyone to deny it. The German, if you've been to his land, you'll feel very sorry for him. The spoliation of the worst sort. Oh, here is the thing. Have you noticed that the NDDC, there wasn't any Fulani man fainting in the National Assembly in relation to the NDDC? Now we they do ourselves. Now we they do we. Now let's go to the Biafran man. Abia State. How many Fulanis have ruled in Abia State in the last 21 years? When the Kalus, from one dynasty to the next, have privatized the state purse. The one that is busy wearing duck hunting gears around in Anambra State, is it Fulani? The problem, we have problems, I agree, but we would actually be better served if we walked away from the distractions, as attractive as it might be, of these secessionist ideologies. And I have a point that I think every secessionist need to get into their brains. They are not the only ones with an agenda. It is not by accident that once upon a time there was a fictitious tribe in Nigeria that was known as the Hausa Fulani tribe. That's a fiction. It's a fictitious tribe. Yeah, it's not by accident. It became part of our national consciousness because it suited certain agenda to promote that lie.
Right.
The question the stupid Southern secessionist has not asked himself is this: who was promoting that lie and to what end? Right. That's the first one. Second thing, Obasanjo was speaking in Ole in 2019. I believe it was have been in January or February. I don't usually listen to the man. I consider him a liar, really. I'm not too sure he's capable of doing anything beyond lying to paint himself as some glorious person. But he said something that I found rather instructive in his address at Ole. He described what he called a Fulani Islamist agenda. Anybody with half a brain in any one of the Southern secessionist movement should go and educate themselves and understand the agenda that they are contending with. That agenda wants them to pursue what they are pursuing. They are playing into the hand of that agenda.
Right.
That is one. The second thing that they should use their brain, open their brains and begin to see. There are over 250 ethnic nationalities in what is known as Northern Nigeria.
Wow.
So if they are thinking that when they are breaking Nigeria, how do you want to break it? There are some tribes in Northern Nigeria that would rather die than see Nigeria break up. So you have a situation where the sum total of the minority groups in Nigeria is actually larger than any one of the largest minority, any one of the so-called three big groups. None of those minority groups want to belong to their stupid utopian republics that all of them are carrying around in their head. Meanwhile, there are people who do not have a homeland, and they are seeking one. Look at Southern Kaduna well and understand it for what it is. Look at the Plateau, the Benue Trough, the Mambila, the stories we are hearing of different people in the forest, even in the southwest and in the southeast, and understand it for exactly what it is. Go and read Obasanjo's address at Ole again. And anybody with half a brain, let them go and educate themselves as to what it really means when they talk about the Fulani Islamist agenda. It's not about the propagation of Islam. It's about hiding an agenda underneath a larger identity.
Yeah.
So if people are stupid enough to be falling for that, it's unfortunate. But reality is, secessionists merely plays into the hands of those who are seeking exactly what the secessionists think they want. Unfortunately, there is no peaceful path to breaking up Nigeria. There is no peaceful path to it. Any attempt to break up Nigeria will be a bloodbath.
Right.
It will be a bloodbath, and it will not deliver anything worthwhile to anybody. Nigeria is already too fragile for that kind of nonsense. People should stop it.
Right.
I have a lot of strong thoughts about Nigeria, but secession is not one of those that I'm willing to countenance. It's nonsense.
Nonsense. You know, yesterday when I had the ladies on the program talking about this same Nigeria at 60, one of the things that came through from one of the guests was the fact that this so-called Nigeria that we make so much noise about, that we show off about, that we hate and we love, it's all about because of the diversity and the numbers that we have as Nigeria. The moment we break away, we lose that power. We lose the opportunities that are available to us, even commercially, economic wise. And so when we do break away, especially when the root cause oh yeah, we disappeared for a moment and came back.
Yeah, but you're
you
back
know?
now, yeah.
Yes. So when the root cause is not attended to, even if finally we do break away, we're still going to face these challenges, these problems, all the challenges, all the problems that's it's making Nigeria dysfunctional will still remain because we're still gonna. It's kind of like when you have people running from PDP to APC and the same problem is there because the same people, the same mindset, the same disease, the same. I'm just gonna
The same family.
the same. I'm just going to take a quick read from some of the comments coming in. Glory Christian says, Nigeria at 60, so many antecedent stands against our growth and development, but bad as it may, will still remain hopeful. Something will or may change. And I have Ramadan says, I am one of them. As someone from a minority tribe, I am not interested in that so called utopia of theirs. And then I have Dr. Lovett Owo says, I agree with you, bros. Now they do ourselves. We need to walk away from distractions, set out achievable agendas, goals, then come together to see these agendas through. It is it's quite clear when you talk to a lot of Nigerians, you find out that as much as we believe that there is so much inequality, there is oppression of the Igbo people, especially, as far as the northern oligarchs are concerned, they would never allow an Igbo man to take the reign of leadership at that level, federal level. As much as we know that, we also are not shying away from the fact that there haven't been unity even amongst the Igbos to be able to even get them to where.
I would even disagree with you, actually. I have never been a fan of the belief that power belongs to a clique of men outside of the citizens themselves. The problem with Nigeria is even embedded in the question, and I would attempt to explain myself. For a long time, there has been a gross aggregation of the Nigerians' rights to the point where some men will just sit down somewhere and presume to decide who is fit or unfit for one office or the other. This is why I say that even if you made an Igbo man, take the present president of Ohaneze Ndi Igbo, make him the president of Nigeria tomorrow, retain the governance structures as they are, the Igbo man's lot will not change. The worst error that the Yorubas ever made as a people was to trade restructuring for power change. Power change was a fraud. When I forget this guy's name now, the guy at Guardian, when he called Yorubas sophisticated morons, a lot of my people were actually livid. Do you know, I couldn't even bring myself to be angry with the gentleman because, you know, there is a point you get to where your wisdom becomes a problem. And if Yorubas had insisted, because, and I say Yorubas not necessarily because I believe it was a Yoruba grievance. June 12th should have been a national grievance, and it indeed was a national grievance until Chukwumeriji and Abacha did their magic and found a way to turn it into a Yoruba grievance thing. But even at that, we, I believe, should have had the higher duty to have insisted on principle that no, it's not about giving us office. It's about restructuring this country to take it back to where it was stolen in 1966. Because if you like, as long as you don't change the governance system, make the Igbo man the president of Nigeria tomorrow. So you would have a few Ojis or Kalu who get more money to steal again. You get, because is it not the same thieves who have been governing in Igbo land in the last 21 years? The system would always ensure that none of the ones with brain would emerge. It will be one of the thieves that would emerge.
Absolutely.
And the thief that would emerge is just like they made sure Obasanjo is a Yoruba president now. Anytime any Yoruba man opens his mouth, they'll point at it. Now, your man was president now. Yes, now. But the reality is, what did he do for anybody? Why must he do anything for me that is different from what he should do for the whole country?
Yeah.
So when we begin to have this discussion about issue, is the Igbo man's turn? Is that one's turn? It's still an acknowledgement of the fact that other people are disadvantaged. And you think that by giving somebody some of my best friends, some of the people who've done me the most good in this country, Nigeria today, are Igbo men. They are not my own Yoruba tribesmen. That's a fact. I have a whole heap of Fulani friends. I have zero problem with anybody, and I don't care what your tribe is. I don't want to be better than you. I just want to be the same as you. I don't want to be treated any different. Make Nigeria equal for everybody. Nobody wants to break up. The man who is shouting, the Igbo man will slap Nnamdi Kanu tomorrow if they level the playing field for the Igbo man in Nigeria. Why would he want to limit himself to the small enclave that Biafra is claiming? It is because of the inequities of the Nigerian state that the insanities of the secessionist voices are being legitimized amongst the people. Nobody is asking for El Dorado. They just want to be treated the same. Stop making where a man comes from or his religion an handicap. The moment that is not the case, you'll find that all these secessionist noises will die a natural death. It will die. But as long as people are continually disadvantaged, when they know that their capacity to develop is institutionally restrained, There was a time in this country you couldn't be a general if you were Igbo. For a long time in Nigeria. And we are not ashamed. Because the reality is that the institutionalization of injustice in relation to one legitimizes it for everyone else. So I understand the secessionist pains, but it's the problem of binary vision that has forced them into that. It's not a sane position to adopt. It's not.
Right. I think even the people who want to secede, they actually know the truth of the power of remaining as Nigerians. But it's just being when a person is so pained because it's almost as though swimming against the tide. You're hitting a wall every time you try. And so they begin to feel like the only way out is when we are on our own. Now, I want to ask because I can see that we're far running into the hour. I want to ask if you were going to say that these are the five, if you're going to give, say, five gains Nigeria has made, significant gains, five losses, and five missed opportunities to unite and see Nigeria thrive and bring about meaningful development, what would those five things be? Five gains, five losses, and five missed opportunity.
You know, when a man is so powerful that you cannot conquer him, especially in Greek tragedies, they introduce a device generally referred to as hubris. So some sort of weakness in his character, it would serve as his Achilles heel. To look at Nigeria and speak in terms of gains, I can't. We've squandered every opportunity.
Wow.
Yeah. And it hasn't ended. When you consider the fact that Nigeria is a country that has deliberately weaponized ignorance against its people. And it moved beyond that. It has also weaponized poverty against them. Ignorance would naturally birth poverty, is a consequence.
Right.
But Nigeria has moved beyond poverty as a consequence of ignorance. When the government's policies actively impoverishes the people, that is classic weaponization of poverty by the state. Now, in that kind of environment, what you find is that people just continually run a rat race. So it's actually an existential thing. People can't really think in terms of, look, every Nigerian in their 20s, regardless of the power, the class they belong to, they don't see Nigeria as a viable place. The children of the rich, all these people stealing us blind, their children see Nigeria as a place to come and have vacation. They don't want to live here. Even our rulers, they don't live here. All of them carry second passports. I can sit down here and start trying to imagine some missed opportunities, some achievements, but all I see are the squandered opportunities. I see 15 million Nigerian children under the age of 14 strolling on the streets. Not just that they don't have good quality education, they don't have any school, no classroom for them. They are not in any school, not Quranic school, not Western school, not trade, nothing. They are just walking the streets. I live in Lagos. When I look at when I look into some of these children's eyes sometimes, I see age beyond my own years in the eyes of kids that are not older than 10. Some of those children are war refugees from the northeast of this country. I see them. What kind of those are missed opportunities, and those are tomorrow's weapons. 15 million, no schooling, no training, nothing. And yet, that shameless man can go and borrow 1.9 billion, whether they are borrowing it, whether we have it, to be building a rail line. And you have that many number strolling the street. Where are the engineers to service those locomotive engines going to come from? What school are they being trained in? Where are they training them? So what kind of missed opportunities am I going to talk about when I see opportunities being squandered on a daily basis? I see the Nigerian state decimating the life of its own citizens daily. So it's a tough one for me to speak about Nigeria in terms of gains achieved. What have we gained? The health system has collapsed. The educational system has collapsed. Nothing is better today than it was 52 years ago when I was born. Nothing.
Absolutely.
So how can I sit down here and in good conscience tell you about gains? I see putrefaction everywhere I turn.
Right.
Putrefaction.
Right. You know, when you started in this conversation, you made mention about where you went to school in the village.
Yes.
You had foreign teachers from Ghana, from India.
Yes. Canada.
English people.
Yes.
I went to school yesterday when I had my panelists. Most of them were my schoolmates, and we had the same opportunity. We went to state school, but even the private school students could not compete and couldn't do better than we did.
Never. How now? It was the people who failed that went to private schools in my generation. If you hadn't failed the common entrance exam, you didn't go to private schools.
Right.
You had to have failed.
Right. That was the Nigeria I knew.
Yes.
And so, finally, I'm going to ask you. Let's say hypothetically, Nigeria remains, Nigeria survives, and we decide to stay together.
Amen. Amen.
Do you think, though, that with the borrowing and the Chinese involvement in Nigeria, that when we all agree that we're going to stay together as Nigeria, do you think there will be a Nigeria that is really ours? With all the borrowing and bringing in the Chinese, taking over and signing contracts that obviously they have not read.
Susan, I have had occasion to ponder this. It's actually part of a book I'm rounding up. And here is what I'll say to you. Nigeria is bigger than any of our rulers, and we will survive. They will account. Our rulers are slave traders, and I have viable basis for my conclusion, and I'll share it. When our ancestors were busy selling men, they were getting umbrellas, they were getting whiskeys, dry gins, mirrors. They were getting all kinds of baubles in return. When the Royal Niger Company was buying Nigeria from our chiefs, they couldn't read any of the documents they were asked to make their marks on.
Yes.
These idiots, they are signing contracts written in Chinese that they can't read.
Oh, Lord.
Are they any different from the slave traders of the olden days? I was on Facebook the other day and I saw one of these novellas that they allowed people to read for free, and it was a Chinese one translated into English. I had occasion to share it in an article that I wrote. I wrote an essay and I shared it online at the time. I drew attention to the fact that inside that novella, the Chinese paradise was Africa. One was phoning home to explain to the other how the family had come into wealth because they now own all the gold in Africa. It wasn't even a country in Africa, the gold in Africa. So we are still were there, you know, the raiders of the lost ark. We are the ones who have the arks, and they are the ones coming to discover us. Now, there is a second wave of slavery or colonialism that is heading our way.
Oh, wow.
The slave traders we call our political rulers. They are the ones facilitating it. But I'll say this. We have a duty to our children to mobilize ourselves and move beyond all these divisions. Look, Atiku's daughter, or is his son, is marrying, what's his name? Ribadu's. Their children are getting married. They are never divided. We are the ones who are constantly being divided. We need to wake ourselves up and really move beyond all these our inane divisions. But frankly, Nigeria will survive. The Chinese they are small fries next to our problems. If we deal with our own issues, it becomes a whole lot easier. I have no problem with the Chinese helping us to develop our country. But I have a lot of problems with our country being sold to the Chinese or any other buyer for that matter. But I have no illusions about the men and women who rule us. They are slave traders. They are not even rulers. They are slave traders. Only a slave trader would go and be signing some stupid railway concession, 1.9 billion to build railway, where you have so many children out of school, where the health system has collapsed, where the economy is dead. Like, look, if you deregulate the Nigerian economy and allow people the space for growth, I warrant that Nigerians will create enough wealth to justify any amount that any foreign power, individual, might care to come and invest in our rail system. We have 200 million people, vibrant people, hardworking, mostly honest. Less than 1% are the blight in this country. Less than 1%. So all the Chinese, for me, my people have a proverb. They say, chase away the fox and then come back and chastise the hen. When we finish dealing with our own internal issues, it becomes easier to deal with the external colonizers. It's not just the Chinese. Nobody loves us like we can love ourselves. The British are happy that we are the mess we are. The Americans are happy that we are the mess that we are. If we have cleaned up our mess, I feel sorry for some of our people. Are they blind? Can't they see what's going on in America? Black people being killed, and they are still running away. You carry our money, you run to America, you run everywhere. This is the only place where we have a home. And if we kill it, I don't know how long it will take us. But frankly, the Chinese are not a problem. We are the problems. We need to resolve our own issues first. They are the easiest parts.
Right. And so just before you leave us, thank you so much. Just a few words to encourage us as Nigerians as we go into 1st of October, even though I know you would rather not,
No. There are a lot to be encouraged about.
Right.
There are a lot. 5 years ago, we didn't have this. Even though they are trying their best to silence us and to steal our voices, we have this. We can talk to ourselves. We can talk across channels. We are the ones who must not agree to give up the rights that we have won. And it is up to us to amplify those rights in order to demand the remaining and to take it. Because sometimes they won't give you You have to take it. That's why I applaud the likes of Yele, who are championing taking it back. Kudos to him. I am of the opinion that Nigerians, tough as things might be, keep your head up. We are more than them. We are more than them. All we really need to do is recognize the commonalities of our afflictions and learn to speak with one voice.
Absolutely.
We are more than them.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes. We have been educated, we have been informed, we have been sensitized, and we're really grateful because these are the things we want to do. Every day we say something, someone comes here and takes away something, and then it becomes, this person tells this person, that person tells that person, and before you know it, we have a community, a nation that is well informed and know what it means, what it takes, and what it means to demand of their government to be accountable and responsible to them. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And happy.
Sorry, go ahead.
I said happy Independence Day.
I wish you the same.
We're alive. Let's thank God for that.
Yes, we are. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Have a lovely night.
You too. Oh, well, I'm going to quickly take some of the comments that came in. I just didn't want today's program to go on for too long like yesterday's one. And of course, I have ETRM Consult say, please don't go there. The Chinese are stealing us blind under our nose. Glory Grace Shannon says, I agree with our guest. It's mostly the same breed being circulated at the leadership level. And of course, there's someone here saying, stop clamoring for one Nigeria. Nigeria can never be one. Self-determination is not a crime. Rather, it's the only solution to end the perpetual slavery and poverty, that contraption known as location. You know what? I just want to say a very big thank you for joining us on Africa Rise with Susan West today. Like Mr. Dele Farotimi said, we are more than them. The moment we realize the powers that we have as individuals, and then when we come together as a people, you know what? Nigerians or Nigeria, I would compare to the way we soft pedal with the people in authority is as though, when you have little children who are really strong and powerful, but they yet don't understand how much power they have. And then one day they suddenly wake up and realize, oops, I am really strong and powerful. I do hope that it will not take another electioneering year for us to come to that awakening, the power that we have as a people, and that together we can actually bring about the change that we are talking about. They are not more than us. We are more than them. And so we should come out of that illusion thinking that they have all the power. The moment we come to that realization, that's the time when they begin to respect us and they will do as we tell them, because they are supposed to be our servants. And on that note, I just want to say tomorrow again, of course, we're going to have the final series for the Nigeria at 60 on Africa Rise with Susan West. And I'm going to have a very interesting guest. Remember the guy who threatened Bola Ahmed Tinubu and said he would chase him out of Edo State? Yes, I'm going to be having him on tomorrow on Africa Rise with a few other men. And so please remember to keep time and date with us tomorrow, 6 p.m. on Africa Rise with Susan West. All right, we're going to have him. We're going to have other interesting and very, very, very sophisticated, well-informed men on the program to celebrate, if there is anything to celebrate about Nigeria. And so I will see you again tomorrow, 6 p.m., God willing. Thank you. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is _Susan West. Follow and like us on Facebook. It is _Susan West. Also on Instagram, it is _Susan West. Thank you and good night.